We're here in Florida to take you by some spots related to the damsel of death, the highway killer, none other than Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos was born in 1956. Now, whenever her mom married her dad, she was only 15 years old, so very young. But a little before Aileen was actually born, she filed for divorce from the dad. So Aileen never met her dad. And he actually died in prison because he was in there for sexual assault and attempted murder on a 7-year-old. Whenever Aileen was 4 years old, her mother just up and abandoned her and her brother. So they had to go into custody of the grandparents. Now, the granddad, he wasn't a good dude either. So at the age of 11, Aileen started basically using sex to get cigarettes and other things like that. And at 14, she became pregnant by one of Granddad's friends. Now, she went into like this place, delivered the baby. The baby actually got put up for adoption. And at 15 years old, they basically kicked Aileen out of the house. So she had to just start defending for herself. But I mean, pretty much she was already doing that. Now, Aileen, she got into a bit of trouble. A lot of it had to do with, like, anger. Like, she would go to bars and get into these brawls. Like, I read one time where she threw, like, a cue ball at the bartender. You know, got arrested for some burglary. I think she stole a car before the murders. She actually did end up marrying a guy. Wasn't for very long. I think he was an older guy. He was like in his 60s. And she actually ended up hitting him with his own cane, and he filed like a restraining order against her. Around that time frame, the older brother, he passed away, and she got $10,000 in life insurance from him. It was around this time when she met Tyra Moore. We've made our way down to 1656 South Ridgewood Avenue here in South Daytona Beach, Florida. Now, what we're here to see is no longer here, but we're still going to show you the spot and tell you what significance this has to Aileen Wuornos. So what you're looking at now looks nothing like it would have looked back in the 80s. But in essence, this is where the Zodiac Cocktail Lounge would have sat. And there's only literally one picture online of this building taken back from the 80s. And it's a sign saying Zodiac. This bar was established in 1979. Now, in 87, I found an Orlando Sentinel newspaper article saying that the city wanted to take the property because they needed to expand that building, its parking area, and that building is City Hall. They must have gotten the building, shut it down, and now you get this lovely parking lot.
Yep, that's usually how it goes.
So, what does the Zodiac Lounge have to do with her? Well, it was here back around 86, 87, right before they probably would have been shut down, that she met Tyra Moore, and which you know was kind of like her significant other who she was involved with. Now, it's stated that a lot of people think that Aileen Wuornos was not actually like a lesbian, but that she was just so desperate for somebody to love her, and which Tyra Moore did. She just needed somebody to give her that unconditional love that she'd never experienced as a child. And she wanted to hold on to it for as long as possible. Now, Tyra Moore worked cleaning hotels, you know, trying to support them. When she found out about Aileen Wuornos being a prostitute, she was not happy about it. She tried to get her to stop. Aileen Wuornos's money from the prostitution was basically what was supporting the couple, because they were bouncing around with their living situation, even having to live out in the woods at some point. In the years of 1989 and 1990 was basically when Aileen went on her little spree, ultimately killing 7 men. Now, she would use the prostitution thing, you know, they would pick her up and then go somewhere secluded to do the business, and then she would shoot them and rob them.
So this is the room at the hotel that Aileen was staying at.
So this is just down the road from the Last Resort bar where she was arrested, and she spent a lot of her time down there. So she was actually staying in this room. This room used to be number 9, but it is now number 7.
And she had her decent sized bathroom.
So at the time of her staying here, this was actually called the Fairview Motel. They've since renamed it to Scoop Inn, and from my understanding, they've cleaned it up, kind of wanted to get away from what it was whenever she was actually staying here. If you're, interested in staying where Aileen Wuornos stayed at, you can actually rent the room. So literally, probably, how far would you say that hotel is?
100 yards.
So 100 yards behind us is the hotel that she was staying at. Now, this right here is where she would have tossed her murder weapon in, the pistol that she ultimately shot 7 men with. Now, police officers were able to retrieve the weapon that she used. Very grown up now.
Yeah.
But that's still crazy that you're standing where in the vicinity of where she would have stood to get rid of her weapon. Unless she walked the bridge. But I don't think she would have, because that would have been more likely for somebody to see what she was doing.
Yeah. Because she could have came right here, whether it be nighttime or daytime, and if this wasn't grown up, she could have just tossed like that and then walked back to her room, which is only roughly 100 yards away.
Now, I told you that she had 7 victims. Her first victim, Richard Mallory, would ultimately be the one she was condemned for. But her 4th victim is really where the cops got her. When she abandoned his car, people had seen her and Tyra Moore driving around in this car. Well, they had an accident in the car, and so they went to dump it, and Aileen left a handprint. So cops were able to use that handprint along with items that they had pawned at the pawn shop and got handprints from that. They matched, and eyewitnesses that had seen them in the car were able to give cops their names and what they looked like. So the cops therefore started looking for them. Aileen liked to hang out at this establishment called the Last Resort Bar. She was there all the time hanging out. At one point, when she didn't have any money for the hotel room that she was staying in, I think she actually stayed some there. And it was at this bar that the cops actually found her, approached her. I think I read that they offered her money for a room, and she was getting ready to leave, and they arrested her.
He coaxes Aileen outside for a smoke.
We walked out of the Last Resort bar, and they took us both down and threw us on the side of the truck.
Joyner plays along.
I ain't got no man. I ain't got no
Joyner is thrown in the back of the squad car with Aileen. He has one last shot at getting her to talk.
What's going on, girl?
I don't know what's going on.
What do you mean? What the they talking about a warrant?
Honey, probably one of these little undercover suckers. Doing some kind of I don't know what's going on, and
Who you talking about? What you talking about?
I don't know what's going on.
I don't
I have no idea.
what's going on there.
Neither do I. What the hell? What, tell me?
You tell me.
Tell me. I don't know. Look.
I told you before that Tyra was involved with the car dumping. Like, people had seen that. So initially the cops went to Pennsylvania and got her because she had gone up there. And they ultimately brought her back. They paid for her a motel, got her on the phone with Aileen, and she begged and pleaded with Aileen, like, you need to clear my name. You need to clear my name. And that's when Aileen basically confessed.
Hi.
Hey,
Hey, I had to call you early because I didn't know if you were going to leave today or what.
I don't. What the hell's going on, Lee? They've called. They've been up to my parents again. They've got my sister now asking her questions. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Huh. What are they asking your sister questions for?
I don't know. Lee, they're coming after me. I know they are.
No, they're not. No, listen.
They've got to. Why are they asking so many questions then?
Honey, listen. Do what you gotta do, okay?
I'm gonna have to because I'm like gonna go to jail for something that you did. This isn't fair. My family is a nervous wreck up there. My mom has been calling me all the time. She doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Okay. Do what you gotta do, okay? Alrighty.
What?
I'm not gonna let you go to jail. If I have to confess everything just to keep you from getting in trouble, I will.
Okay.
So don't worry, okay?
Okay.
I love you.
No. Don't do it now. Get it over with.
Right this very moment?
Yes. Get it over with.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
You can
right
call
this
me
very
back
moment.
later.
All right.
All right. Okay, bye.
I killed those 7 men in first-degree murder and robbery. As they said, they had it right. A serial killer. Not so much like thrill kill. I was into the robbing biz. I mean, you know, serial killers are in this thrill killing jazz. I was into the robbing, just and eliminate a witness. But still, then again, I got a number, so it's serial killer.
But when you're saying that there was no self-defense, so there was no self-defense.
Now, there was no self-defense. And this is the last time I'm going to say it. You have to kill Aileen Wuornos because she'll kill again.
Aileen was actually tried for her crimes. She was sentenced to death by lethal injection. And she didn't have a last meal. All she wanted was coffee.
At 8 o'clock, time ticking away for serial killer Aileen Wuornos.
Her date with death set for about 90 minutes from now. 7's Patrick Frazier is live in Rayford as her sentence is about to be carried out. Good morning, Patrick.
Christine, in an hour and a half exactly, Aileen Wuornos will be injected with a poison. Within about 2 minutes, she will begin to stop breathing. Now, it's tough to say who will be happier that she is dying. The families of the victims she brutally murdered or Aileen Wuornos.
At 9:47 this morning, the case of the state of Florida versus Aileen Wuornos was carried out at Florida State Prison in a very professional and humane manner.
She's actually not buried on the grounds near Florida State Prison. She was actually cremated. Now, in my research, I read that the Last Resort bar got some of the ashes. Now, I don't know if that's 100% true or what, but they claim that the bar is haunted by her because of this. The rest of the ashes, though, were collected by a friend from Michigan. That friend took those ashes back to Michigan and spread them out underneath a tree.
It was a trip getting to go around all these places she had been here in the Daytona or south of Daytona area. All right. Well, that does it for us. Catch you guys down the road at the next exit.
Keep it spooky.
Later.